What's going on, Nerd Squad, and welcome back. Superheroes. They shoot lightning out of their face, they fly up in the air, they have sweet capes, they have lightning dripping around them all the time, but where the hell do they come from? I mean, not in the comic book. I mean, where do you get the idea for some of these godly guardians? Well, mythology is a pretty good start. Be it Greek or Norse, you have quite a few to pick from. So here to break down 10 of our favorite superheroes inspired by mythology, I'm Taylor McWatters. Let's dive in. Kicking off the list at number 10, Thor. Yeah, we'll get him out of the way early since most of you are already pretty aware of the god of thunder from down under. But if you check out the other books about him, not comic books, he's one of the most popular figures in Norse mythology. He was the big man upstairs, according to the Scandinavians in the late Viking Age. They truly believed that thunder was Thor and that lightning was the work of his magical hammer, Mjolnir, which we've seen countless times by now on the big screen. But one of Thor's other Norse pieces of equipment were mentioned briefly in Spider-Man: Homecoming. See, Happy references Thor's magical belt, which had a good laugh in the theaters, but those who are up to speed on the Norse mythology knows that that belt was actually a reference to the belt of strength. The belt is said to double the strength of the god, so let's hope that we found that one after moving day, because I would love to see Thor push all that fat and buckle up. And then he'll get twice as strong. It'll be twice as badass. And before we head over to number 9, if you guys could go ahead and smash that like button because it goes a long way for us over here at our studio. You guys rock. Now back to some badass Norse gods. Number 9, Odin. Thor's dad, of course, the main god in Norse mythology. Why not break down some more Asgardian goodness while we're on the topic? Odin Borson, the one-eyed all-father, is the god of death, war, wisdom, poetry, divination, and magic. Yeah, he couldn't leave like 3 of those to some other guys, eh? He wanted them all to himself. That's the god way. His 2 ravens, who we've seen quite a bit in the MCU kind of make a little brief appearance, were among the Norse gods' pets of choice, with the names Hugin and Munin, but who we didn't see were his other pets. See, Odin also owned Sleipnir, an 8-legged horse, and Geri and Freki, 2 wolves. Now, I could watch a movie with just those animals right there. It's like Dr. Dolittle on crack. Debit, done, deal, IMAX. Let's see it. So yeah, Odin was the god of war, but he wasn't the warrior type. You know, even in the comic books, that's the case as well. Thor was the one who went knocking. He's the one who knocks. Watching Breaking Bad, it's so good for the first time. He's got weapons for himself also. This time in the form of a spear that he named Gungnir, which rhymes, so you know it's gonna do some damage. Actually, the spear never misses its target. That's part of the whole deal, the god deal when you buy spears, which is a little bit unfair if you ask me. Number 8, Hercules.
Oh, Hercules, 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 Hercules.
The son of Zeus, who I'll get into a little bit later, is also the king of the Olympian gods. He made his first Marvel comic book appearance in Young Allies back in 1945. Yeah, he was Marvel. He had a pretty wild upbringing as well. I mean, most of these gods do. So basically, his father Zeus snuck off one night and he shacked up with the mortal woman Alcmene. And he took the appearance of her husband, and then out popped Hercules. So he lied about his appearance to get into bed. So he's kind of a dick. And then when he had Hercules, he was first named Alcaeus, okay? He was an average Joe when it came to the mythological gods. He has human level problems. He just has god level solutions, you know? Makes for quite a show. So with his strength and his stamina, he was able to wrestle and beat death and complete these 12 impossible tasks. And yes, one of those impossible tasks were getting all the cups out of my room in one trip. God, there's so many. Number 7, Heimdall. The god of light and dawn, hence the gold color. He looks very nice. Lovely presentation. He's known as the Watchman of the Gods, okay? This is pretty accurate in the comic book form as well. See, he guarded the Bifrost. He's basically the door guy for Asgard. So Loki and Heimdall met their fate just minutes apart in the opening scenes of Avengers: Infinity War. But what's wild about their deaths being so close together in the movie is that in ancient mythology, Loki and Heimdall both killed each other during Ragnarok. The big war with all the gods, right? Ragnarok, big thing. Also, the best Marvel movie ever, hands down. So he obtained some pretty cool gear as well. I mean, he has Hofund, the great sword that we see that opens up the Bifrost, and he also has a horn, appropriately named Gjallarhorn, which is so loud, the loudest horn ever, and if you hear this horn from whatever realm you're in, it basically means that the giants are coming, so get ready to rumble. And no, I don't mean the New York Giants, although that would be still pretty terrifying. Number 6, Loki. Of course, died at the hands of Heimdall. Who knows, maybe we'll see this as one of his little time mishaps in the upcoming show. I think he's in for a heap of hurt in all those episodes. So Loki is known to most as the trickster, okay? His methods were pretty wild in Norse mythology. He could change his gender, shape, whatever, you name it. He would often help Odin and Thor, but in doing so, he caused embarrassment for them. Ah, sounds all too familiar, my friend. See, the other gods weren't a fan of him either. Apparently, he would just show up uninvited to their banquets and then drink all their jungle juice. So basically every Nick that we knew in high school. That's what Loki was. Loki's also considered a god of fire. Remember that 8-legged horse that I mentioned earlier that belonged to Odin? Yeah, Loki straight up gave birth to that. Ouch, that's a lot of legs. That's a lot of legs. The doctor's like, I think it's a hairy octopus. I don't know what to tell you here. It's got like 9 legs. It's got like 8 legs. I don't know. He also loved the pet life as well, which most of these gods do. They have their own little cool pets. Among Loki's was Jormungand, the serpent that surrounds the world, and then Fenrir, the wolf who we see eat a few right hooks from Banner. But he also hooked up with the giant Angerboda, the distress bringer, so he's quite a character. He gets around. Number 5, Achilles, which you can't say, you have to yell, that's the rule. Whenever you say Achilles, you have to yell it as loud as you can. Making his first appearance in Wonder Woman back in 1944, Achilles, of course, the Greek hero, known as the greatest warrior of all of Greece. But when some think of Achilles, Brad Pitt is the face that pops up. That's not too bad, it's a pretty nice face.
Achilles!
So when Achilles was a wee baby, a prophecy had stated that he would die young. So his mother, Thetis, dipped him in the river Styx by his ankles, so invulnerable powers were given to him, and it was all over his body except, of course, his Achilles heel, which is just his heel. Achilles heel is Achilles heel. Ah. Along comes a timely arrow, boom, and then the heel gets hit, and then he bites the bullet. I mean, just dip your toes in, come on. Always do a temperature dip. You always gotta do a toe dip for good luck. Number 4, Odysseus. A Greek warrior who fought in the Trojan War and alongside Achilles when the citadel of Amazonia was attacked. He made his first DC Comics appearance back in 1942 in Leading Comics, and in Greek mythology, he was king of the island of Ithaca. He's the great-grandson of Hermes, the Olympian god, and father to Telemachus, husband of Penelope. I like this guy a lot. He was actually one of the warriors in the Trojan horse. Like, he was inside there, like, ready to go. God, I would pay any amount of money to know what the inside of that horse smelled like. Oh my god. Surprise! We had the smelliest horse in history. Enjoy it. Go drink. Cover your nose, but also enjoy it. And number 3, Lady Sif. The goddess was known mainly for being the wife of the storm god Thor. Her name literally means relation by marriage. And it's said that she had a hand in the creation of Thor's hammer. In the Marvel Universe, we see her played by Jamie Alexander, and she's not the husband of Thor yet. Who knows? Thor 4, we might dip into that territory. Hopefully, I mean, she's great. And she couldn't do Ragnarok, unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts, so I feel like they're gonna make up for some lost cause there in Thor 4. Let's do it. In the MCU, she was the warrior goddess on the Vanir, the wise god of old. Her brother is actually Heimdall, a fellow Vanir, and she becomes known as the goddess of war, which is way cooler than, hey, I married a guy, you know? Bit of a better classification. So if you want to get a good look at Sif's journey from the start, she entered Marvel's comic book family with Journey into Mystery issue 102 back in 1964. And number 2, Zeus. Alright, one of the gods of Olympus and most commonly known as the god of the storms. He is the father of Wonder Woman and was actually killed by Darkseid once he came out of hiding to save his daughter. So while him and Darkseid were hashing it out, there was a crazy storm happening all around them, right? Because he's the god of storms. You gotta make it look like a cool rainy step-up dance battle, you know? Gotta have that appeal. Wonder Woman and Zeus's emotional bond was the key to Zeus's spirit being freed from the evil Darkseid. Ah, love. So powerful. And Zeus was the king of the Greek gods, and he lived at the top of Mount Olympus, married to Hera. And of all the mythological gods, Zeus has always interested me the most. I mean, the guy hucks lightning bolts. And if that's not cool enough, he has a winged horse, Pegasus, that carries the lightning bolts around. And he has a trained eagle that picks them up. Another cool ability he has is to also mimic anybody. He could alter his voice and shapeshift into animals, and rumor has it, if you were to get him upset at you, he just might have turned you into an animal as payback. Which I'd say is better than a lightning bolt to the neck. I don't know, I could deal with being an animal for a little bit. I could be a turtle for an hour. I can't pull a lightning bolt out of my neck. That's way worse. Zeus was the 6th child from the Titan gods Cronus and Rhea. And Cronus actually ate the first 5 kids because they were deemed too powerful. Yeah, he just gobbled them up. What a nice guy. So Rhea hid Zeus after his birth, and now the other children weren't dead, okay? They were just in his belly, just hanging out, having a belly party. So when Zeus got older, he disguised himself to drink a potion that would make him cough up his brothers and sisters. And those brothers and sisters being Poseidon, Hades, Demeter, Hestia, and Hera. Quite the reunion if you ask me. But hey, there's your family, meet them, enjoy. And finally, number 1, Wonder Woman, the daughter of Zeus, one of the biggest and baddest DC characters ever. She hit the comic book pages for the first time with All-Star Comics 8 back in 1941, and she just killed the game. She was actually one of the first superheroes to get her own comic line. First there was Superman, then Batman, and then her. Bam. Now of course, her mythological background is the most dazzling detail of Diana Prince's story. See, in the comics, she's a founding member of the Justice League after she made the leap to serve justice in a man's world, leaving her home, Themyscira. The Princess of the Amazons also wields a few tools to help her feats. The lasso of truth among the coolest. She also uses bracelets of submission created from the remains of Zeus's shield, and these help her keep a hand on the wheel when it comes to balancing her powers. She also of course obtains the royal tiara, which she at one point cuts Superman's throat with, and she has an invisible jet because, well, of course. And before we finish up here, we of course have to go back and check out a few of our favorite comments from our last list, and these ones come in hot from the top 10 ways the Marvel Universe will end. Okay, first comment comes from Carla Bug. They say, Hulk's story makes me want to cry. My heart, ugh. Anyone else? Oh, big time. It hits me right in the feels. I mean, it's just the Hulk alone talking to a camera while the world around him is dark and cold and oh my god, it's me. Next comment comes at us from Death Nightmare Sinfullest. Nice, lovely name, just full of joy and light in that username. They say, ha, if Taylor ever decides to write a book, it would almost have to be titled Chuckle in the Dark. You know what, it does kind of roll off the tongue. Besides, I always sucked at hide and go seek as well. I always blew my location. Also, a very fitting name, I love it. Fits with my soul, it's good. And last one's from Sunstar. They say, top 10 comic characters that are also mythological figures. Ho ho, Sunstar, do I have just the list for you. Guys, thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you for watching. Stay safe out there, stay inside, and keep reading those comic books. Until then, you're awesome. I'm Taylor McWatters, and we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.